Good day and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob. Really happy for you to join me today. Thank you. In our most recent post here, we paused to identify 3 high-risk situations that you may have faced in the past or may be facing in the future. Curious, what did you come up with? What happens in our bodies and brains when we encounter such challenges as these kinds of high-risk situations? Well, it's pretty predictable. That is, unless we develop some really clear and effective resilience skills. It's pretty predictable indeed. Let me just review that quickly. We've talked about it here before, but won't hurt to review it. Stress, especially when it's severe or prolonged, increasingly shuts down the executive decision-making center in our brain. It's really the forebrain. I point here to the frontal cortex with the forebrain. That's the executive center of our brain. And it gets shut down or hamstrung when we get stressed. And in its place, the emotional center, which is the limbic system in our midbrain, right between our ears, the limbic system, or the emotional center, it takes over, and it actually hijacks clear thinking and sound judgment. There's a kind of tunnel vision that often gets triggered for us in high-risk situations, and it's that very limitation in our problem-solving abilities that makes us oftentimes more prone to act impulsively, and I want to say regrettably. So that's the math, in a sense, of what happens to us in the face of stress. You can begin to see how important it is for us, if we want to navigate our lives creatively and effectively, that we develop some skills for being able to move back, if possible, from the reactive emotional brain into the much more methodical, problem-solving executive center of the brain here in the front part of our brains. So for today, what I'd like you to do is take a few minutes to write down a time in your own life where maybe the best parts of your thinking, your planning, and responding to a situation, where they've been commandeered or hijacked by emotional reactivity and the short-sightedness or the tunnel vision that we're ascribing to the limbic system, to the emotional reflexes in the brain. We've all done this, so I just want to ask you to reflect for a moment on where you've lost traction in the frontal part of your brain and moved into the midbrain. Let's see what comes up for you when you try to bring to mind some high-risk situation and review how you may have gotten caught in the midbrain's hijack of the forebrain. This is exactly what we intend to address in our next few conversations here about finding and then implementing useful resilient skills which will help us to respond much more effectively to high-risk situations. This exercise will kind of get us in motion here, and then we'll come back and begin applying some strategies and skills that can really help us. So in the meantime, between now and I see you next, please stay safe, be well. I appreciate you being with me today. Come back and join me again soon. Take good care.